And joining us from London on Skype is I-24 News Europe correspondent Jonathan Sacerdoti. Good morning to you, Jonathan.
Good morning.
So what are the main sticking points for Cameron with this possible deal?
Well, 24 hours before the summit begins, and the main sticking point seems to be child benefit. David Cameron originally said that if an EU immigrant worker is working in the UK but has children and family at home in their home country, they would no longer get child benefit sent back to that country to their children. But this has already been watered down, instead linking the amount of child benefit sent back to that country to the country in which the children are. But now even that compromise is seeming less likely, with some countries insisting that those already in receipt of the child benefit should be exempt from those changes. So while Germany and France seem to be on board with the UK's demands to reach a deal, 4 Eastern European countries rejected those proposals to curtail benefits of migrant workers. And that's why European Council President Donald Tusk has said that EU leaders will have to go the extra mile to reach the agreement. He said that after Poland, Slovakia, Hungary and the Czech Republic reached this common position on Tuesday, rejecting those current proposals on curbing the child benefits for migrant workers in Western Europe, which is a key demand for David Cameron.
And where does the British Parliament currently stand on this issue, and for that matter, the British people?
Well, of course, there's great division also here in the United Kingdom. Even within the Conservative Party itself, certain members of the Tory party are keen to campaign against remaining in the EU, though cabinet members have been told that they can't speak out and start to campaign in this way until David Cameron says so after this deal is made. However, we've already seen Priti Patel speaking out, saying that she is going to be a leading voice in that particular campaign. And we can also see some form of disarray among the Leave campaign, because there are, in fact, more than one groups deciding they wish to be the official Leave campaign. You have UKIP on the one part, you have some within the Conservative Party on another part, you have all the different political parties struggling to get along together, even when they do agree on this particular issue of staying or leaving the European Union.
And what do you think we can expect to come out of tomorrow's meeting of the European Council to mold the issue?
Well, what Mr. Cameron is hoping for is that this last-ditch diplomatic flurry of activity will mean that he can get an agreement, which will mean that there could be a referendum for the British people as early as June. But of course, what's coming out now seems to be that that referendum will be asking British people to vote on something which won't be certain even then. Just because it will have been agreed does not mean that it will be actually passed in the European Parliament by all of the European states. And that's quite a big ask of the British people, to ask them to vote to stay within the European Union or to leave based on something which is relatively uncertain. It's essentially asking people to vote for something which is not properly defined.
And I want to just touch on the migrant issue in Europe, Jonathan. You know, from an economic standpoint, many experts are saying that Britain's exit from the EU will push more flows of migrants into other rich EU countries, since the UK will likely limit immigration if it does indeed leave. Now, it's already the second largest absorber of migrants. What would Europe look like if this panned out?
Well, this, among other reasons, is why France and Germany, and in fact plenty of other European countries, do not want Britain to leave. And that's not just the politicians, that's also the people. Latest polling has shown that, in fact, there is very little desire to see Britain leave. A poll by Lord Ashcroft, published in the Sun newspaper on Wednesday, across all 28 EU member states, 28,720 people found that 60% are keen for Britain to stay in the Union, while just 1 in 10 want Britain to leave. Now, migration could be a contributory factor into that, but Britain, of course, being an island state, is in a slightly different position from most, and also not being part of that Eurozone, has maintained certain separations from Europe all along. It's now that many people within Britain are saying that with migration and other issues, they feel that the European project has gone too far, much further than was ever imagined when Britons first voted to take part, and that's why this referendum will be an opportunity for those people to have their say, as well as for those who say that Britain is stronger within Europe and that it would be a disaster for Britain to leave.
Well, these next few days are certainly critical. Jonathan, thank you for joining us from London. And we'll be back shortly, but first let's hear some more of this morning's headlines.